Mark Hamrick joins us now. He's Washington's bureau chief and senior economic analyst for Bankrate.com. Mark, always good to see you. So the economy shrank slightly in the first 3 months of the first quarter of the year. That's according to the latest government figures. How much of that do you believe is accurate? And also, how much of the decline would you attribute to reaction to the president's trade and tariff policies?
Well, the data is credible. There's no reason not to believe the data, but I would not take a lot away from the fact that it was a negative print, that there was a minus sign away from it, because we had this 41% increase in imports. There was a massive imbalance between imports and exports, and that subtracted significantly from the growth reading. If you look at the sectors that were engaged in spending, consumers were spending at a rate of 1.8%, not the 4% they were before. Business was spending. The outlier not spending as much, a minus sign in front of federal spending, dragging down government spending. So, if I thought it was worthy of sort of saying there's a fire, I would tell you that. There obviously are incredible headwinds facing this economy, but we shouldn't place too much importance on this contraction merely for the sake of pointing out that it was a contraction, because the math is complicated on GDP. Whether we have a contraction, let's say, continuing this year, we'll see. The expectation is that we rebound in the plus column here in the current quarter.
The math, as you say, is complicated, but we're grateful you're here to help us navigate. So the government will release the April jobs report tomorrow. What are you expecting to see from that report, and what clues might it give us about the overall economic health of the country?
Let's remember that this monthly employment report, the data is gathered around the 12th of the previous month. So this is a snapshot around the second week of April. It was only, a number of days since the president announced this escalation in protectionism and tariffs that he did. And so what I think right now is you have uncertainty, you have volatility and disruption. Employers aren't feeling like they should be leaning forward and hiring a lot of people in an environment like this. We're not seeing a huge escalation in firings or layoffs in the private sector. So I think where the problem lies is the lack of confidence leading employers to hire. So the payrolls number, the number of jobs added, is expected to be below the level of the previous month. Around 130,000 jobs are expected to be added, but that is expected to be enough to keep the unemployment rate steady at 4.2%.
Well, the unemployment rate has been steady for quite some time. Longer term, though, do you think the underlying economy will be solid once we get through the storms of these trade policy changes?
Well, it's all on how long is that going to take, John. The average amount of time that it typically takes to negotiate a trade agreement is anywhere from 400 days to as long as 4 to 7 years. We can't wait that long with this uncertainty or the level of tariffs. As you said in Jenna's report, we're looking at container ships slowing markedly off the West Coast, the ripple effect being then in trucking with retail sales and consumers' ability to buy things. So I think at some point we're going to need to have a truce. There is an escalated risk of a recession this year, but right now we cannot say that there is a recession underway. We believe that the economy is continuing to grow, looking past that GDP report because of the way the math is done.
Very hopeful that we will avoid that R word. Mark Hamrick with Bankrate, thank you so much for coming on with us, and thank you so much for your insights.